the joy of being yourself. So what do I mean by that? The joy of being yourself, because who would be the self? Who would be yourself? That is the question. But then what does the joy of being yourself mean as well? So right now we're seemingly sitting here listening to me talk, looking at me and looking at my background. A beautiful sofa in the background there, which is a bit random to have a sofa over there behind the sofa. So it's because then if I have guests, I don't have to interact with them. I just sit them over there and then I sit here. Yeah. So, what was I going to say? So we're sitting here and we're looking at all these things and we're doing all these things. But who is the central person that is experiencing that? So these words appear, these sounds appear, the sights appear, the world seemingly appears, but who is experiencing it? So it might feel like there is a you inside there experiencing it, but who is this you? Who is this centralized you? So it feels like you are a combination of your choices, your thoughts, your stories, your feelings, and you kind of live behind the eyes there. And that you're looking at me, so you're behind the eyes looking at me. But if you really pay attention and you really meditate deeply on that, you begin to see that that's not true. There isn't a centralized you. There's an appearance of you which is coming and going. And then there is this empty looking, which is infinite. And this looking isn't a subject-based thing. The really mad and crazy part about this looking is it is everywhere and nowhere simultaneously. So it's looking at the person, it's experiencing, it's perceiving the person, but it's also not separate from anything that it perceives. It is the things it's perceiving. So it is my voice, it is my face, it is the sofa, it is even your personality structure. But it's not located anywhere. So when we're having awakening experiences, it feels like we turn as the personality structure and look at the big consciousness and look at the perceiver, but you can't actually look at it. You can't actually see it. It's like this mystery. So right now, there is something looking out of your eyes that's absolutely impersonal, but it's the fundamental essence of you. So it's been there the whole time, so it feels fundamentally you-ish, but not you-ish as in like got a quality of goodness or badness or rightness or wrongness. It's absolutely impersonal. You could say it's unconditioned love. And that's what's looking out of the eyes now. That is what is everything. So not only is it looking out of the eyes and looking at your personality structure, it is actually everything it's experiencing. That's so radical. That's so beautiful. This is all you've ever looked for. It really is. So when you think that what you're looking for is your partner being nicer, being more loved, a better house, a bigger garden, nicer view, restrictions to open up, society to go back to the way it used to be. When you think that's what you're looking for, it's not actually what you're looking for. What you're really looking for is being you, being who you truly are, which is this moment. It's never in the things, it's never in the objects. That's pleasure and pain. So it's nicer for you if your partner is nicer or more loving or more intimate, more balanced, but it's not what you actually want. What every human deeply wants is to know themselves, is to be themselves. They don't want things. They don't want objects, which is the same thing as things. But they don't want whatever it is that you might think that they want. What they actually crave for and longing for is to be home, which is what you are. And this is unconditioned love. It's not something you can sell. It's not something you can bottle. It's not something you can get by working really hard. It's not something you can barter for. It's not something that's more cut out for the rich than the poor. It's what you are. It is what you are. It's the most fundamental essence of you. This empty looking that's absolutely impersonal. Right now, there is nobody looking each way. There is nobody. There's nobody here and there's nobody there. There is an appearance of you coming and going, but it's not the experiencer. That is an experience that comes and goes. Your body is an experience that comes and goes. Your thoughts are an experience that come and go. Your feelings, your emotions. And what you are is beyond all that. Beyond all ideas, beyond all reference points, beyond all wanting or not wanting, or craving or averting. It's right here. It's so radical. So if you think of the thing that you really don't want to happen, it's not actually true. What you don't want is to not have what you are. So if you think of the thing that you really want, so say you really want kids and you can't have kids, that's not actually what you really want. That's a pleasure to have kids. But what you really want is to be here now. To know who you are, to be yourself. To see this life fresh in every moment. And to me, that's the end of suffering. Not the end of dynamics. Not the end of dynamics. I'm most probably as fucked up as the next, although I would like to think that I'm a bit more evolved than the next, but we've just got to start with that basic assumption and then expand upwards. So I have fears. So last night there was a crash outside my house, and my electrics went out at the same time. And it was because my toaster had blown up simultaneously at the same time. There was like a big bang outside my house, and and there's some other stuff. And I was home alone, and when I heard noises in the basement, which is where I put my lights on and the electrics back on. And I was scared to go into the basement. There was some other parts to that story which I can't tell you as to why I was scared. Yeah. And so to me, that's like past energy in the Lisa body. So there's something that's happened which has made me a bit sensitive to being alone at night. And that's an energy that comes up. And there is fear, but there is still empty looking. And I know that seems like, how could that be? But it really is. It's just fear in the body. And then there's absolute freedom in that empty looking. And this is really being yourself. So the character is the way it is. And as a character, the polite thing to do, the best thing to do is to always expand and integrate. To always be working on dynamics, to keep expanding, to not feel like you've arrived on the character level. But then there is this other part, which is free. Totally free. And expanded. That is empty. It is no thing and all things. And this isn't about the character then making up stories that then I'm awake and then I'm free and I'm enlightened. Like rationalizing like really bad behavior that's it's not what's being talked about. Like when this is really recognized, I feel like then the character's momentum is to integrate this more and more into the character. And that's the natural progression. And nothing to hide. The character has nothing to hide. So who is it that's looking now? And also what also happens is that people have this intellectual recognition of consciousness, and that's part of the awakening. But then there's still this seeking energy, and they put that seeking energy down to human dynamics. And the seeking energy is a feeling of not quite being in the right place. Whereas this recognition, this energy, this expansion is like a groundedness, like a feeling at home. Who you are is this, and then recognizing that, and really the collapsing as the seeking really allows the person to be who it is with all its dynamics, with the momentum to expand this more into the human, but to really be itself, like the character is okay. The human is human. There is nothing wrong with its humanity.